Hello friends, it's Maureen coming to you from Happy and Free Yoga, and today we are making decadent chocolate truffle balls. And these are in honor of American Heart Month and Valentine's Day, because these are heart healthy truffle balls. So good for our heart and good for our brain because we've got some omega-3 fatty acids in it from the walnuts. Now, if you enjoy my videos, please do subscribe to this video series and then also hit the notifications bell, the like button, and leave me some comments because I want to hear from you, okay? I enjoy hearing that feedback. It really helps inspire my decision on what to do the next video on, and it makes me feel good. All right, so let's move forward. We'll start with our food processor. So take out your food processor. Going to open that up and we're going to start with our ingredients. Our first ingredient is our mulberries, dried mulberries. They're a little bit like a raspberry or a blackberry, and we're just going to go ahead and put those in. You can get these at your grocery store, but for sure Whole Foods. Sometimes they're a little pricey at Whole Foods, and I actually like to get them from the Middle Eastern market. So check it out. Okay, our next ingredient is our English walnuts, okay? These walnuts have omega-3 fatty acids in them, and they are our heart healthy fat. And of course, you can get these at any grocery store, at Costco, etc. Our next ingredient is steel cut oats. Now, steel cut oats, as you notice, are a little bit more chewy. Love that chew. And that's why I choose to use them. Now, rolled oats can be used, but remember they're rolling that flat and they turn more into kind of like a flour. And so it's not quite the same as the steel cut. Okay, let's go ahead and process and turn down your volume so you can tolerate the noise of our food processor. Here we go. Okay, so you're going to see that during the time that we food processed, that these ingredients became almost flour-like and crumbly, okay? And they're all blended together. A little bit of moisture to them, but not much. Now let's go ahead and add in more of our wet ingredients to this for our second spin. The first thing that we're going to work on is our 10 medjool dates. Now, medjool dates are much softer, almost caramel-like, and so when we put these in, they really bind together everything into that truffle-like feeling. And also, if you only have the Deglajour dates, so I have some of these here available as well. These are a little bit smaller and harder than your medjool date. And I'll just show you one of those so you get an idea of that, okay? Can you see how they're just quite a bit smaller than the medjool date, which is a huge, that's half of one. So you use 2 of these if you're using the Deglajour dates, okay? In addition to the dates, we want to add in a 1/2 cup of cacao powder, okay? And that is all of our chocolate flavor, because that actually is the cacao bean, and it just has the saturated fat removed, and that's why it's a powder instead. And so you can get this at Costco or at your supermarket, and I'm going to show you mine here. I got this probably off of the internet, but it's organic, fair trade cacao powder. Maybe I got it at Costco. But there you go. So saturated fat in this, 0%. So I love that because typical chocolate has cocoa butter in it, and that is not healthy for our hearts. Where this one here, still good for your heart. Okay, and then our next lovely fat ingredient is our almond butter. Look at how creamy that is. And that's just roasted almonds with, I think this one has a little bit of salt. I don't really find it too often that I can find it without the salt in it, but that means that you can cut down on the salt in your recipe if you're trying to avoid salt, which for healthy hearts, we do want to keep the salt down. Okay, and this recipe calls for a 1/2 teaspoon, so that's a 1/2 cup of the almond butter. Let's get all that yumminess in here. And then in addition to that, we want a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And you can put in a little less if you are in a situation where you have the almond butter that is salted, which ours is. Okay, let's blend again. And once you have your ingredients well blended, now is that time to add that hint of mint. So I'm using Simply Organic peppermint oil and just putting a little bit in. This is very strong, so you want to put in just a couple good little drops of it in here, okay? Maybe 2 to 5, 10 drops, something like that. And close it up and blend it in again. And if there's any doubt about the amount of peppermint, I say give it a little taste and just see if you've got enough peppermint in there, okay? So we'll just take a tiny pinch of this. I can taste that mint. Lovely. Okay, nice and sweet, a little bit of chocolate, and that lovely light freshness of the mint. Okay, let's transfer this into a bowl so we can continue to work at this. We'll set our food processor aside and get our ingredients transferred into this bowl. So we'll try and save all these yummy ingredients off of our mixer. And then take our blade out of our food processor, followed by our ingredients. We'll be using this ice cream scooper to actually get all of our truffle balls formed or shaped. So continue to move in. You can see how sticky it is because it's holding on to itself in the container, but that's a good sign. And don't worry, it'll all come together beautifully. Okay, so now let's get our coconut out. And we'll also have our finished plate out, okay? So let's go ahead and take a ball, one shape of the little mini ice cream scooper, because a full-size ice cream scooper would be too large. Okay, so get it nice and flat, and then pop it into your hand. Make sure you've taken your rings off so that you can do this, okay? And just kind of press it together, and you can see how smooth it gets, okay? And then you can just roll it a little bit. Make sure your hands are washed. Of course, we're all into washing our hands now, aren't we, with the COVID? Okay, and then you roll it into the coconut crumbles. And voila, look at that. Perfect ball, perfect truffle. So delicious, and I can smell the mint coming up from these balls. And the harder you press, the better it seems these are. So I say give it, squeeze it in tight into that mold of that mini ice cream scooper. And then roll it nice and firm, get it nice and round, roll it into the beautiful coconut crumbs. Take a look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? I love having that. That kind of, in my mind, the white of the coconut kind of reminds me of mint. And so I think it's a fantastic way of putting in the hint to the eye that there is going to be a mint flavor here. Okay, so notice how I just kind of squeeze them together in the shape of a ball, and then I finish them with the rounding of. Okay, and now roll the truffles. And there you go. Aren't those beautiful? And you can then stick them in the refrigerator. Now, why do you want to stick them in the refrigerator? Because when you do, they get so much more firm and chewy. And so I have enjoyed them much better out of the refrigerator than when they're first made. Although usually I have one when they're first made, but they're kind of soft. All right, I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you so much for joining me. Have a beautiful day. Don't forget to subscribe, notifications, and the like button, and send me comments because I'd love to hear from you. Take care. Have a beautiful week. Namaste.